Salve discipuli. We're finishing off chapter 2 today, so take your Caesar packets out. Remember that you should be taking notes while you are watching this video. You can pause, you can rewind, you can slow me down if you got to, but you should be taking notes. You're going to use those notes to answer the Google Form questions that have been posted up on Google Classroom at the end of this video. All right, so if you remember where we last left off, the beginning of chapter 1 introduced us to Orgetorix, the Helvetian. He is not the chief of the Helvetians, but he is an important person. He's very wealthy, he's upper class, and he has a lot of influence. And he has come up with a plan that they are going to get out of Helvetia. They are going to migrate, they are going to find a new place to live, and he wants to be in charge of that, so he is out for personal gain. However, the Helvetians are on board with this plan. They agree. They're very easily persuaded, and Caesar tells us it's because of geography. So far, we found out that they are surrounded on all sides by large geographical features that make it very difficult to move around. And on the other sides of those geographical features are other tribes and peoples, right? So on one side, they've got a river and then the Germans. On another side, they've got a bunch of mountains and another Gallic tribe called the Sequani. And then on a third side, there's a lake, a river, and the Romans. So there's not a whole lot of places for them to go. We're going to find out that this is also a very narrow territory that they don't like. And that's what we're going to be reading about today. So, picking up at line 9 with his rebus. His rebus is in the ablative case here. I'm going to use my little pointer here. His rebus is in the ablative case, and this is ablative of cause. So we have hic haec hoc, meaning these, and res rei, meaning things. So we want to translate this as because of these things. Then we go to our verb. Remember, this is kind of almost like the passive of facio. It means to happen. And it is one of the few things that can actually introduce a result clause that is not one of those clue words like tot or tantus or ita or seek. So fiebot is actually a verb that's going to introduce a result clause that we're going to see coming up on the rest of this slide here from ut to posent. And we know we have some kind of ut clause because posent down here is subjunctive. So we're going to translate because of these things, which remember is them being surrounded on all sides. It happened, we got imperfect tense, that, starting with the ut, and then we've got two ets here. And when we have two ets, we don't translate and, we translate both and. So it happened that they both wagarentored, wandered, less widely. We have two adverbs here. Minus, the comparative adverb, it's a regular form of parvus, so meaning less, and late coming from the adjective latus meaning wide, so less widely. They can't go very far. And then we've got two more adverbs, less easily. Again, that irregular comparative adverb of parvus, minus, and facile coming from facilis, which means easy. So here, adverb easily. They were less easily posent, able. And then we go to the complementary infinitive, to bring war. To, direct object here, because we've got the preposition in, to their finitimis, their neighbors. So this is our first slide here, and we're going to move on to the next slide. So remember, they want to go places and they can't, and they like to fight, but they can't. And he's going to tell us what effect not being able to wander and wage war has on the Helvetians. Right? We're going to go into a causal clause, which here we're going to translate qua ex parte, not as on which side, but here parte almost like a reason. So for which reason, or therefore, right? Homines is our subject, men, and we've got the adjective cupidi, which takes the genitive, and we've got a gerund here that goes with this genitive, taking adjective. So we have men desirous of bellanding. This is just the verb form of bellum, which means war. So bello bellare, to go to war. So men desirous of going to war. They were ad ficiae bantord. They were afflicted. This is our passive verb. By ablative means magno dolore, great pain. So yeah, they want to go to war. They can't. It makes them sad, right? And when they're sad, they're going to act out. So Orgetorix has come along with a solution for them. So we continue to get into their thought process again of why they are in agreement with Orgetorix. We want to translate the adverb or the conjunction autem first, right? That means moreover or like in addition. So moreover, and here we're going to translate the preposition pro as because of. Because of the multitude of hominum, men here is our genitive, and because of the glory, and we've got two genitives with that, of war and of bravery or strength. And then we go into an indirect statement. We've got our mental action verb here, arbitrantur. It is deponent, so it looks passive, but it translates active. So we want to translate it as they thought. Remember, this is the Helvetians thinking. They thought that. And so our indirect statement is going to go from angustos to habere. Our subject of the indirect statement in the accusative is se. Remember, that's the reflexive pronoun. So it's going to reflect back onto the subject, which is the Helvetians. We're going to translate it as they. Our verb of the indirect statement is in the infinitive mood. So they thought that they had. And what do they think they have? They have too narrow, right? Fines, borders, territory, right? So they're like, territory is just not big enough for what we want to do, right? We have outgrown it. It's time to move on, which is fair. You do not want to keep trying to wear the pants that you could fit in high school when you're Miss L's age. It just makes you sad, just like the Gauls. Moving on. Last bit. We're going to explain exactly how narrow those borders are with some Roman numerals. So remember, Roman numerals. C is 100, L is 50, X is 10, right? When you put the X in front of the L, that subtracts 10 from L. So 50 minus 10 is 40, right? When the X is after the L, it adds 10s to it. So CCXL, that's 200, and then we've got 40. CLXX, that's 100 plus 50 plus 30, so 180. All right, so our relative clause, qui is going to be referring back to fines over here. So which in length, and then we go to the verb patebant, which here can mean to open or lay open, or here we want to say something like extended. So which in length extended, and then we have our measurement, 240, and then remember millia passum literally means 1,000 paces, and that was how the Romans measured miles, by the marching of their army. So you can just translate all of millia passum as miles. So which in length extended 240 miles, in width 180, right? And notice here we've got longitudinem and latitudinem. This is our longitude and latitude we get from this. All right, that's it for our translation today. But I do want to show you guys some maps to remind you about the size of the territory. Remember, the Helvetians are right here in this little itty bitty bit, and you can see the topographic here that it's mostly mountainous. There's not a whole lot of room for them to move around here, right? The Germans are just on the other side of the river there, and you don't want to get too close to the river there because of the Germans. There's a lake here in other people's territory down here. Again, this is Roman territory. You have the Jura Mountains and the Sequani on the other side. So there's really not a whole lot else for them to get to. You have to sympathize with them because they are in this really tiny territory. And just a closer look in that, again, you see there's some rivers around in there, but not a whole lot of room for expanding. Okay, so what are you going to get done now that you finished watching your video? Don't forget you have your Google form to get done. And we're at the end of a chapter, so you guys are going to have a discussion question to complete. Let's talk about it with 3 to 4 complete sentences that give specific evidence from the text. You can use your notes to get that done. I also want to remind you that your vocab assignment will be posted up tomorrow, Friday. You should get it done, okay? Have a great day. Stay safe, stay happy, and keep learning.